Today, I want to share a story with you. And it's a story about a realization that really became something for me to always return to. And I was just reminded of it the other day. So it's very present for me right now. So I just want to share it. And it is about noticing when we are on autopilot. Yeah. So the story happened in Nepal. And when we were there, we were living in this small town, and it was in a valley. And then every time we had the possibility, we were just like walking up the mountains and staying in the mountains. And so we did this a lot of times. And at one point on this hike, there is this perfect spot for resting, like almost halfway, where there's like shade and it's like a beautiful view. And so we would always stop there, and that was a very natural thing, and it became almost like a ritual for us. And then one day, as we were arriving to this platform, I just went to my regular spot. There was this bench where I used to just sit and chill. And then I stopped in front of the bench and I looked at it. And I was like, wait a second. Does my body actually want this right now? And then I looked around, and then I just saw like the floor. There was this stone or concrete floor that was super cool, and it was like really hot outside, and I was super sweaty. So I just felt like I just wanted to lie down on this cool floor and just completely relax on the floor. And so I turned away from the bench and I went to the floor, and I felt this huge relief in my body. And as I was lying there, this very clear message came through. And it said, do you do what you always do? Because you always do it. And this sentence has really become dear to me because it's a great reminder of noticing if we are on autopilot. And by autopilot, I mean that we are so in the loop of everyday life, or of in the mercy of our habits. So we become controlled by our habits instead of our habits being something that provides a structure and a rhythm. Then sometimes our habits can lead to stagnation and not really allowing us to see what our body needs in this moment, what our intuition is telling us right here and now, or how the surroundings are communicating with us. So, do you do what you always do because you always do it? There's nothing wrong with doing what we always do, but if it is because we always do it, then that's a very, very strong sign that we are maybe on autopilot. And that means that we are not really taking conscious choices or making conscious choices ourselves. We are just on pilot mode. And the reason why I was reminded of this story was the other day. It was actually when I was sharing on my channel. I was sharing about my process, about what I usually go through, at least for now, because it's also something that is constantly changing. So I was just sharing the different steps of what I usually do when I create a sound journey. And that has become, at the moment, a process where I go to a place, I record a video and maybe some field recordings, and then I take it home, and then I sit here in my studio and I give sound intuitively. And that became like the way that I usually would create. And then the other day I was walking towards the ocean, and I had my camera and I had my small microphone to just record, to just capture a little bit of ambient sound of the ocean. And then when I went there, I was like, this melody just came to me as if like on my walk there, and it was just so present, and I was just singing with the ocean, and it was really this communion with the ocean. And then in that moment, it just felt like such a rich invitation to just sit down and record this melody. So I did that. And then I took it home, and I was like, it felt so strong, because when splitting up the process in different pieces or in different ways, going to a site, recording, and then recording again, when being in my little cocoon, in my little safe space, that is a very, very different experience and a very different outcome than when I just sit down and give sound right there with the ocean. So it was like this very big opening for me. And then I was like thinking to myself, like, wait a second, why don't I just do this? Like, anyway, I'm there connecting with Mother Nature. I'm there connecting with the place, and then just giving sound at the same time. Just be like very natural. And then I asked myself, okay, why is this? And then I realized that this was because where we were living before, like a year ago, it was a place where there was a lot of noise. So I would not be able to use those that small microphone, because it captures everything. It's not really made for recording like vocals and sound, so the quality is also not as good, and all of these things. And for example, it would capture if there was an ambulance or something coming by, and we were living right by the road, like we were living in the middle of the city. So even though it might not be that obvious when you see some of the recordings from back then, but we were in the middle of the city, so a lot of city noises were always there. But now we are in a different situation, and where we are now, I can actually go to places where there are not that kind of noise, and so it was just a very, very strong invitation from the ocean that she was just saying, well, you can also just come here and express, sing with me, sing with me directly. But to me, it also became so, I love being in my little cocoon, and I feel so safe here. And it is very, very vulnerable, to me at least, to express through the voice. Yeah, it feels it feels very different. But this was just like a reminder to me that don't do what you always do because you always do it. Like, maybe things are always changing. So maybe the process is asking for something different now than it was a year ago. And it's like that with everything, you know, whether it is our body that wants to be in a different position than what we do every night, like sitting in the same chair, and maybe it just wants to move. Maybe it just wants to like, I don't know, lie down on the floor, or maybe it wants to do something completely different. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in habits because it's very convenient. But if we allow ourselves to be open, then amazing things can happen. And I feel, at least that is where I grow. Even though it can be super scary. Like, recording myself while singing is super scary to me. But now that I have done it, I have done it 2 times now. And now it was very, very, it felt very good. It felt very, very good. And so powerful, because now, like, you can hear that I'm in direct communion with the birds, for example, and with the ocean, and it just becomes even deeper sound journeys, I feel like, when it's right there. So a lot can happen when we allow ourselves to go off of autopilot mode and really make the conscious choices in our everyday life. So I just wanted to share this with you, and if it resonates with you, I would love to hear it. And if you have similar experiences stepping out of autopilot. Yes, that was it. And thank you so much for being here, and sending lots of love, and see you soon. Ciao, ciao.